We are hot. Have at it,
All
brother.
right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome you to our pilot episode of Post Credits Podcast. As now you can see all three of us, all three of our beautiful mugs. You can see, at least on my screen, I got Tom Cruise and I got an Aliens expanded universe poster for you to look at too. We've been talking about doing this for a while. We've been kind of hobby podcasting with each other for quite some time, but this is us.
This is
Um,
Us. Good movie.
It's a TV
the
show,
TV
Oh,
show.
yeah, whatever.
actually.
That is definitely just a TV show. But
Look how big my hand is.
Grayson, yeah, look, Grayson actually loves This Is Us, by the way.
Really?
I do love that show quite a bit. It
Nice.
is sad. I love it. You'll cry. All the feels, man. All of them.
I will not, because I won't watch it.
Mm.
So, no.
Well, this is episode 1, and we're just gonna kind of. It's a soft launch. We're just working out some kinks for a few weeks. But I'm really happy to be doing this. I know we've been talking about it for a while, but I'm really happy that we finally pulled the trigger. How do you guys feel?
I really thought about just dropping in the Bill O'Reilly. Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Agreed.
Let's
Agreed.
Let it fly, baby. Let's go.
I just watched that. Like, I don't think I've ever seen that full clip until Chris
Oh, it's
sent it to
hilarious.
us.
Like,
Yeah,
it's-
someone sent that to us recently in our group chat.
That was
so-
me.
Yeah, that's a
it
really
was.
great clip.
I ain't reading all that you put in there. You want to do show prep and like learn things,
Ugh.
whatever.
Yeah.
So
Disgusting.
yeah, I'm really excited to kind of jump into this. But
Yes.
yeah,
Nah, man, we're gonna have a good time. You know, we've been hanging out with each other for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and you know we semi respect each other's
Yeah,
opinions.
kind of.
Which
That-
is about all I'll give for some of you people.
Yeah, no, that's
If
fair.
you think that applies to you, figure it out.
Yeah, very much agreed. So what we got going on, Grayson?
I was just sending you a quick message. But again, this is all we're working out our kinks. We're now recording from a different kind of apparatus, so yeah, I just want to make sure our audio is good, stuff like that,
Yeah, man, I think we sound good.
as we do.
Rolling out.
Gentlemen.
Rolling
So let's then talk about post credits podcast and just what it is, just really quickly.
Okay. I mean, I'll lead us off because
Yeah.
we used to do some stuff together. Now we're doing this. We're doing a little bit more refined approach in what we do. Really drilling down into the stuff that we wanted to do, not stuff we felt like we had to keep doing. Happy to be here with you guys doing this now. I think having a new format, a little tighter, a little bit more flexible. That's kind of weird to say in the same context, but you guys know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm really happy to do this. You know, we're all lovers of movies. You know, I don't have any qualifications per se to besides the fact that I used to do this a lot. And now I'm doing it again.
Well, so I think building off of what you said, there's a good bit of things that we have done in the past that we felt like we had to do, and it got in the way of the stuff that we wanted to do. So we have found a way to kind of trim the fat on some of that stuff. We got a lot of cool stuff coming down the pipeline, things that we've played with on the old show, and things that we've kind of come into, just thinking about and wanting to go forward with. So we have a lot of cool things coming up that we think that we enjoy and that we think everyone else will enjoy too, as we discuss.
I think so.
Yeah.
I know in the past we've kind of been hampered by an old format that never really changed, but we discussed for a long time changing it, and this is the result of that.
And then we did.
And then
Yep.
we did. Yeah, I'm really excited. I know Chris and I have been talking about doing anime episodes, and I know Chris is really passionate about anime, and I'm really excited about that too. That's something I don't know a whole lot about.
Oh, yeah.
I've been doing some reading on that, and I just watched the very excellent Terminator series on Netflix.
Mhm.
I forget what is the title of, but I just finished
Terminator
that.
Zero.
Zero, and I think that's quite wonderful, and I'm really excited for to see what comes of that. I'm really excited for Lord of the Rings: The War of the Rohirrim, which is kind of done in the same style.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think anime is really kind of taken
my
more of a
defense-
popularity in this country.
In my defense, I've been trying to broaden your horizons to anime for what feels like 3 years now.
Sure, and I totally understand that.
I mean, and then I could give you my recommendations for anime since you
True,
don't ever seem to
true.
care or ask
Me and
about mine.
Grayson, do, me and Grayson may not, but me and Roger do cross paths on
Sometimes.
anime every now and then. So
That's a good thing. But
Mhm.
I think as far as the show is concerned, we're going to stick to weekly theatrical. on the release weekend.
Most of the time.
I think
Most of the time, sure.
weekly theatrical plus is a good way to think about
Yeah.
it.
I think so too. But yeah, we're
But I mean, if
really
we don't
excited.
want to, it's our show, and we'll do whatever we want.
True.
That's the power of the start and
We'll
stop
fight
button
Grace
I
into
have
the
up in the
death
top
with
corner.
This
sticks to make it
is
happen.
very true. And going into that, I guess tonight is going to be a less dense, compact episode, but still, we do have a lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to get into the box
Flexing
office.
some muscles tonight.
We're going to get into the box office as we've done in the past, and then we're going to talk about Venom, and then Venom: Let There Be Carnage, and then as we go into Venom: The Last Dance. This is one for me that I was really kind of excited for. I'm a big fan of the franchise, so and I know Chris, you're a big fan of Venom.
I'm a big fan of Venom, less the franchise, but I'm
Fair.
a big fan of Venom. So
Fair.
Did you prefer the Topher Grace Venom? Is that what you're saying?
No. this was the best thing that's come out for Venom in theatrical, but it is not perfect by any means.
No.
Fair. So let's well, gentlemen, let's look at the box office. I know that we I love looking at the box office, and I think
Box office is exciting and informative, in my opinion.
It's
I think
useful.
so too.
Let you know what your brethren are watching.
Well, it lets you flex your muscles of like being kind of an industry analyst, because like everyone's looking at those same numbers and they all have their own takes on them. But
knower of ball like myself, very good at
Yes.
choosing what will be the number one.
yeah, so let's
Certified ball knower.
of course, we start off our first episode with Venom coming in strong with a $51 million weekend, 175 million worldwide.
That's
Solid
good.
number.
That's what's up, man.
That's good, right?
That's a very solid number for
Yeah.
of. This is not one of the official MCU films either, which makes it even I think a better number.
I don't think any of these have been official MCU. This is all the Sonyverse.
Well,
right?
we're gonna talk. I
Well,
think it's funny to talk about how
Yeah,
like
we'll talk about that.
they put it in, then they take it out, then they put it in. It's just weird how they do that. But
Yeah.
Smile
maybe.
2, another strong week for Smile 2 at 9.4 million with a worldwide of 83 million. We did not talk about that one. However, we did talk about Wild Robot number 3, 6.5 million with 232 worldwide. Any comment on that one, boys? How that one's sitting?
I just wanted to keep making more money. I discovered something recently, and that was because of Roger. He informed me that I didn't know that when a movie is released to be rented or bought on streaming platforms, that it goes towards their box office score
for
a set
several
amount of
weeks.
time.
Yeah, for a
I
set
didn't
amount
know
of time.
that. That's actually that changes the entire landscape and game for me on
It does.
what I think about that.
Yeah.
So
I
here
think
I am
that's
talking
kind of
about movies, and I
always
didn't know that.
that's kind of always been evolving and changing as far as like a markable gain in money. I don't think it's been like that for long, but it will evolve, of course, as the movies evolve.
I mean, it gets it more money. Well, people not have to go to the theater to see it. So, and here's the thing: Wild Robot's awesome. Check it out.
Yeah.
We
Oh
all
God, yeah.
We all like that.
We did like that movie a lot.
Number 4, Conclave, 6.5 million with a 6.5 million worldwide. Again, if you don't know what that one is, that one's got a pretty strong cast. It's I think it's probably worth checking out. I want to check it out this week. Now that I have more time after I start my job, I think I can get that one in. And also one, We Live in Time, 4.8 million, number 5, with a 12 million worldwide. That's a lot softer than I thought. A movie with Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh.
So I heard that movie's sad as shit.
Yeah, I've heard
Because
that
of course it is.
So, I mean, talking about movies we think would perform better, this is a similar outcome to a movie that got a lot of buzz initially but didn't do well with Fly Me to the that one about the moon, right?
Fly Me to the
Fly
Moon.
Me to the Moon.
Yeah, same thing. Two bigger, like more known stars come together for a rootin' tootin' good time, and then it just doesn't make any money. This is kind of going down the similar path.
Well, I think this has more of the small budget drama style feel to it too, though. So that's important to think about when we're dealing with movies like this, because like this is the kind of movie that sticks around for a while, makes a handful of dollars, and then come Oscar time, people start talking about that stuff a lot, and then it gets re-released, and they double, triple, quadruple the amount of money they made in the first run. Like that happens all the time.
Okay.
So, which is something that
I mean, it's got two actors that I really do enjoy in it. So, I mean, I will enjoy seeing it when we have to watch it.
Who's in that movie,
Oscar
Grayson?
Andrew Garfield, who is friends with Roger but not with me.
Some things, will
unfortunately.
never be left behind.
No, God, I never given that up.
unfortunately. But number 6 through 10, just to name them off, because I like to do a top 10. Terrifier 3, number 6. Chris, you'll be happy to know that's still making a little bit of money. Number 7, Beetlejuice. Number 8, Anora. Number 9 is Piece by Piece. And number 10, Transformers 1 is still making money. That's sitting at just 124 million worldwide. You know what's funny about that is I thought after 2 weeks of box office, that's where Transformers 1 would be sitting.
Hmm.
But it hasn't really done much. But that's a good. I know we
We liked it.
liked it a lot.
We like it's a
Very
fun
much so.
movie and it's a decent watch. But
I think
Agreed.
so.
Yeah.
But so there's your box office.
Still one of the best third acts I've ever seen. In a
sure,
kids movie.
quality. I mean, strong. Listen, 25 minutes of chaos.
I can't wait to
Chaos.
rewatch that with my oldest daughter because
Yeah.
we didn't get to see it in theaters. So
Hell yeah.
I'm
Excited for
excited for that to go to streaming. Very,
Mhm.
very, very much so. I might
Yeah,
pick up
you-
the Blu-ray as well.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah.
yeah.
But so this is we're gonna go into. Before we go into Venom: The Last Dance, let's talk about Venom and Venom: Let There Be Carnage.
Yeah.
And,
Let's do that.
Chris, I want to let you lead the charge because you're a huge Venom guy.
I am a huge
So
Venom
I want
guy.
you to go in. So the first Venom film, what, 2018?
Yeah.
Yep.
So knowing you're such a huge Venom fan, what were you expecting with the first Venom film?
Okay, so what I was expecting then with the first Venom film was not Topher Grace's Venom, right? And I say that
So you were very disappointed.
I say that with all the respect to Topher Grace that I can give. I think Topher Grace is a very underrated actor even now. But like that movie and the rendition of Venom in Spider-Man 3 made me so sad that when we were ready to get when the Venom movie was announced it was coming around, I was so excited to see something anything better than that. And while it wasn't exactly what I expected, I really did enjoy Venom, the first Venom movie for what it was because it wasn't terrible, right?
Sure.
I've seen so many. Also coming off of like the Amazing Spider-Man films, knowing that those haven't done as well as what they could have done story wise and character wise.
Still should have got a trilogy.
I agree with that, but
Still should have got the
but
trilogy.
Venom 1 coming out, I was ready for something cool for Venom. And luckily, I got something pretty cool for Venom. Wasn't perfect by any means, but Venom, when it came out, made a ton of money, got Venom in the door for more movies, and we did get more movies out of them, obviously. So that's what I expected and wanted and got out of the first Venom film.
So the thing with me for the first Venom, because the first Venom it's okay. Like I struggle to say that it's overly good. It's not bad, but like the thing with Venom is it made a ton
It did.
of money in the foreign box office.
Mhm.
Like this was like $1.1 billion movie.
Yeah.
So
Made a
there's
billion.
that.
Mm-hmm. So like, I know if it would have been rated R, it would have made less money, and that's
Sure.
what matters to studios. But in a world now where we've seen rated R superhero films make money,
A lot
it
of
almost
money.
it makes me sad that Venom didn't come out in 2026 for the first time, and they might have thought about taking the shot at it being rated R and doing more with the actual like the combat and gore and
Well,
that side of things for Venom.
That was
so.
always a bridge I wondered if they would have crossed. Now, obviously, the landscape is different now, but like when Let There Be Carnage came out, because Carnage is like like an X-rated villain, right? Like
Yeah,
he is the worst of the worst for
Mm-hmm.
Marvel, like one of the absolute
Most brutal villains that exist.
brutal character. And they still adapted him into a PG-13 movie, and I think it suffers because of that. Because like, look, if the first Venom movie is only okay, to good to okay to me, the second movie is a bit lower than that.
It's a step down.
It's a step down. Like there's some cool stuff that happens there, sure. Like I mean, you get to see Carnage on screen.
Don't get me
and-
wrong. Yeah, I got to
Yeah,
see
you got
Carnage,
to
which
see
is
some
cool
of
as
that
shit.
stuff,
So
but it's just not
Mhm.
that good, and it made considerably less money.
it did.
So
It did.
there's that. But I mean,
Well-
here's the thing: with Tom Hardy as Venom,
Mhm.
I'm down for it. Like,
Yeah.
he embraces that character,
Mhm.
and
He's already said that he's willing to come back as Venom again if they want him. So
willing,
he said, and I quote,
willing.
he said, I want to fight Tom Holland as Spider Man, and then then he shortly after he said, I'll fight anybody as Venom. So I mean, he's ready. He's ready to come into any verse as Venom and play that character. I think he has a good time with it.
Sure.
What I find most interesting about something like Venom, and I'm coming at it from, I don't know much about the comic book lore like the guys do, and I mean Chris and Roger here, but I'm always interested in seeing, from the point of view of an anti-hero, of how they were going to
Lethal
how they were
protector.
going to. Well, I'm sorry.
He's the lethal protector.
The lethal protector. How they were going to manipulate the story to make him the protagonist.
Yeah.
Because Venom, I mean, Venom is a villain of Spider-Man, isn't he?
Yeah.
But like
And
same
some other people, but
Well, yeah.
Spider-Man primarily, yes.
sure, but like that's kind of how we know him, or at least a lot of how
Oh, yeah.
people know him as a
Well,
villain of Spider-Man.
yeah.
And in the way, but and recently in the Disney verse, we saw that Cruella film, and it kind of switched our expectations of, and Maleficent. Like we've been doing that a lot more recently, taking characters we know to be like villains and making them either anti-hero or good. And I mentioned this, I was interested to see where that went, but I think Tom Hardy is one of those really well casted
I was
choices.
I was worried about Tom Hardy um
Eddie Brock.
as Eddie Brock. I was going to say Brock Lesnar, not him.
Yes.
As Eddie Brock.
And the
Uh,
Brock Lesnar
for a
biopic, we've
while, just because
chosen
I wasn't
Tom
sure I was going to
Hardy.
play him, and I don't think he plays Eddie Brock like traditionally well, like compared to the comic book version of Eddie Brock. But he plays his Eddie Brock, and it works. It works just fine for the Venom films that
Well,
we
the thing
have.
is he's different than the comic book version of Eddie
Yeah,
Brock, because Eddie Brock's
100%.
usually a big jack dude
Yep.
most of the time, and like Tom Hardy's cool as shit.
Yeah.
He's not big
No.
at all. So,
Well, knowing that, why was
oh
Topher
no, you ever
Grace
seen
cast?
Warrior though? He's pretty shredded in Warrior. That's the cage fighting movie where he beats the
Yeah,
shit out
yeah.
of his brother. Yeah, that
If
movie rules.
if
Check it out.
why was then Topher Grace cast? And there's nothing against Topher Grace.
Have you seen Spider-Man 3?
Well, yes, I have. So did the rest of the
Okay.
world. I mean, ton of
There's
money, but
nobody asked any of those questions, sir.
Yeah, like there weren't
What do you mean?
criteria for hiring Venom
yeah,
at
that's
that
fair.
point.
Yeah, okay, fair enough, fair enough. I just
Yeah.
now that you describe him as like the Tom Hardy choice makes sense.
Would you be willing to dye your hair blonde? Yes. Fucking hired.
Yeah, that's
Done.
basically what it
Hired.
came down to.
Done and done. Yeah. So
Do you know how to hold a camera?
I remember
Yes.
really liking Venom. I'm one of those weird people that I don't think Venom 2 was, as far as separating the quality of a film from my enjoyment. I enjoyed the second Venom more, even though I know it had a lot more problems than the first.
Mhm.
Because again, you put Venom up against something that is, that is bigger, stronger, faster. And that to me, as someone
Crazier.
who loves film, crazier and willing
Crazy
to
matters.
do the worst to get the end that they want, is that to me matters. As far as like a film guy, like I get excited when those matchups come, because it's the same. I mean, I know that for me, the third Terminator film, for example, is you had the T-800 going up against something that's radically newer, and like I mean, even at the time, I was like, how are they going to do this? Like that is interesting to me to put Venom.
Mechanically, the best Terminator film.
I disagree, sir. Hard disagree, but yeah, I liked also Woody Harrelson as Carnage.
I did too.
That's
I thought that was actually a really good casting choice.
I agree.
Because he's just weird enough to pull shit like that off.
Yeah, the only guy that would have been better, I think. Well, the main guy I think that should have got it is the guy who plays Dexter. He
I don't know
Michael
his
C.
name.
Hall.
Yes,
Michael C. Hall.
Yes.
He looks like
Cletus Cassidy.
Cletus. He looks like Cletus. Honestly, he has a little bit of that look
It's
to him,
true.
and he knows how to play that kind
Oh,
of character. That's
He's
the only other
he's
person.
a weird dude.
He is.
Who else? Wait. So who else do you think could have played Carnage? Now that we're doing like a short list.
Well, I mean, that's definitely my number one pick.
Wait, hold on. Just to be clear, Michael C. Hall is your number one pick.
Yeah, the guy who
Okay,
Yes,
plays
that's Dexter.
Dexter.
Yeah,
I don't think Woody Harrelson's a bad choice by any means.
I don't either. Yeah.
I don't know. He was, because man, Woody is just like that kind of that right unhinged kind of thing that Carnage would have to be too. But I don't know.
He's not that right unhinged, but he is unhinged enough to play Cletus. But Cletus needs to be broken unhinged. You know what I mean? Like that. Like there needs to be a level of psychopathy that seems to be unattainable. Yeah, whatever I said in English.
Just about anybody that played somebody from a Mad Max movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's
which is oddly Tom Hardy as Venom.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like it just keeps coming. Tom Hardy would be a great choice for Venom.
Yeah.
Or for
I agree.
Carnage.
I agree.
No, I want to find one more. There's got to be one more that we can think of, right? Like specifically to play, a serial killer that wants to just cut things to pieces. I gotta think of one guy in Hollywood, right?
I mean, there's a lot of people that play crazy pretty. Here's the thing, and I know this is going to sound like a joke because it kind of is, but like if you break it down, it works. Somebody like Jared Leto, who
Okay.
is a crazy
Mm.
person.
Yep. And well, but he digs into the roles he's in, right? So
True,
like
yeah.
he really does try to bring a method to it.
Yeah,
So
because like he's full blown weirdo.
yeah,
So
yeah, he
there's
is.
that.
But
Yeah.
he was Morbius. You know what I mean?
Well, so here's the thing: if he goes on and does that,
Mhm.
then we never get Morbius,
True.
and the world is probably worse off for that.
I mean,
What do you think,
Honestly,
Chris?
why is the world worse off if we don't have Morbin time?
because then we don't get Morbin time.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
did it first. I did it first. Yeah, so that's the thing about the second Venom film is like you needed someone just more venomy than Venom, and then, that's a tough role to fill. And
It's hard to play crazy. I
it
think,
is.
right?
I
Like
think
you have
so.
to be crazy. You can't just play crazy.
I don't know
Yeah.
if that,
Is it?
and this is gonna sound weird, but when I asked this question, the one guy I had in mind, and you guys may totally disagree with this, but uh, Combucker, what's his name? He played Smile.
Benedict
Benedict. Sorry,
Cumberbatch.
Cumberbatch. Like,
Cumberbatch.
could he have done Carnage? You think?
Ooh, he's got a really creepy smile when he wants it. So I think I think he could have a creepy look to him. I think he could. I think he could have done it. I think you're right. I just had somebody, and I lost it when you said Cumberbatch too. So hopefully I'll come back to it. But no, I think you're right. I think he could. I think he could do it.
I think so too. I think he'd been a really good choice actually.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: you could always go with
Or Matthew McConaughey.
the dude that played it,
Oh,
Skarsgård?
Skarsgård.
Skarsgård.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like, look, we'll play a creepy weirdo.
I yeah. I
Yes.
kind of like the Matthew McConaughey call actually.
Yeah, I thought Matthew McConaughey
Would he
was my
get to
backup.
smoke cigarettes?
Of
Yes,
course.
Then yes.
Matthew McConaughey was my backup if one of you guys had said the other guy. But I think McConaughey could do it too. Oddly enough, I think he's just that right amount of crazy that could
Ooh,
the recipe
got
would
two.
make it.
I got two more guys, but they both played X-Men.
Oh.
I
Fassbender.
think Fassbender, I think he could do it.
Yep.
And I think the guy who does Split and stuff,
McAvoy.
McAvoy. I think
Oh,
McAvoy.
McAvoy. McAvoy could have done that. Yeah.
Yeah, McAvoy can pull off crazy.
Dude's so jacked right now.
yeah, he's a little too big for Cletus Cassidy right now.
He
But-
is. He is.
Yeah, he got huge.
Well, okay, Chris. Here's a good question for you then. Before we head into the newest Venom film, is what was your disappointment with the? And you could answer, film by film, the first and second one, or just in general if you'd like. What was your biggest disappointment with how they portrayed Venom?
Felt too much like a Marvel film, honestly. So I know it's weird because like we want to see Venom in the Marvel verse, but that's because of who is there and who Venom can go against. But I think one of the biggest things for me with these films has been the fact that the tone isn't quite right if you're going to do Venom. I think it needs to be a little bit darker. I think there needs to be more violence. I think there needs to be a more to that side of it when it comes to Venom specifically. The other characters don't have to be that way within that Sony universe, but Venom needs that. Venom thrives there. Venom is a huge, I mean, physically huge monster,
Imposing animal. Yeah.
an imposing thing, and to never have him against an actual like relatable superhero or another anti-hero with differing goals and stuff to pit him against, to show like how big he actually is and how powerful he is. Just have to go with another symbiote every single time is kind of lame. Like we saw the same villain 3 times now, well, 2.5 times now.
Sure.
You know, so like I think that's the biggest thing.
So, you guys ever played Midnight Suns?
I've
The
dabbled.
Marvel
I've
Sony
dabbled.
game.
Yeah.
Oh no, not I.
So, Venom is a large part of that
Mhm.
story. It's about basically hell coming to Earth.
Yeah.
In the Marvel universe. Cool story, fun game. Probably should have got more. Should have sold more than what it did, but it's a card game, which is weird. But it's
Yeah.
like a RPG card game.
Yeah.
But that version of Eddie Brock is interesting because he starts out bad and becomes good,
Okay.
which is standard Venom turn
Yeah.
for a lot of things. But like their version of Eddie Brock is huge, by the way, just
Jacked.
huge.
Gotcha.
Jacked.
Yeah. Well, Venom in these movies is huge.
Well, but yeah, but
But,
Tom
like,
Hardy is not.
Exactly. Yeah. So like it's the full CGI treatment to make him that way.
Well, Tom Hardy's not.
One
small,
last
dude.
thing about
He's short though.
he's short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
One last thing about Midnight Suns is like so he is super strong in that because like he's amped up with like devil power, which is cool.
Yeah.
Like enough that he goes against the Hulk.
Oh,
So yeah.
so
check
that
it out. Play a game. It's fun.
So funny enough, that was the person that Tom Hardy highlighted as someone he'd like to fight as Venom. So hell yeah, brother.
Bruce. Let's go,
Um,
Bruce Banner.
the one of the coolest like pit against character to character in Marvel is the storyline where the Venom is like hard against the Punisher. That
Okay.
would be cool. Like imagine that like if we would have got that film where pick your favorite Punisher, whoever he is, but like
Bernthal.
like Bernthal,
Gun.
Bernthal against
Thomas
Venom
Jane. Tom Jane.
would have
You
been
shut your mouth. You shut your mouth.
yeah, but like Bernthal Punisher against Venom would have been such a cool thing to see in a film. But again, like that
Well,
is my biggest gripe.
well, that's the thing with that's if this movie had been delayed another year with the success of the Marvel team up of
Yeah.
Deadpool and Wolverine, that may have actually happened, like in whatever universe. Because imagine, I know we just talked about before, we were just kind of shooting the shit before we recorded. Is like Blade has been removed from the November MCU lineup, and like Chris said, well, maybe it's because Snipes tested so well in Deadpool and Wolverine that changes what they're going to do with the entire film, which
Mhm.
very much could be. I know we're getting an entire Channing Tatum Gambit film because of
Good.
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh, is that happening?
That is, I think, can been confirmed
Ooh, I'm
now.
making a name for myself today.
Yeah.
Crap. That's exciting.
But like this, the possibilities of the team up, especially in the Marvel universe, because they've been doing it forever in the comics, is like that's an interesting idea. As long as it keeps grounded, that's an interesting idea.
Especially if they start to take some of their old form back. I think
Sure.
you could see a lot of really cool things, whether it be in whatever medium they want to put it out in. Honestly,
I agree.
because one of our favorite products from Disney Plus is Captain Winter Soldier,
Sure.
and that's a team up one, right? So like
Yep.
you can share the space with multiple versions of these
Just
heroes
gotta be a good
and have a good
story.
time. So
I agree.
Just has to be a
Yeah.
good story. When
Mhm.
a story is weak, it's weak.
Yeah,
So
true.
doesn't matter who the characters are. People will watch a good story.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
That's just it. It's like it doesn't. That's just
Well,
like what I mean. But again, with Marvel, with the Marvel stuff, like the story is usually the thing that kind of takes a backseat to whatever, And I'll admit, like whatever cool effects they have, or they have great fight sequence, or like they have an awesome sequence that costs $20 million to do, but it looks great, but not so heavy in the story. Like to me, that's always been kind of Marvel's kind of Achilles heel is
yeah.
matching the story with what or the grounded level. I mean, and this is might be a hot take that Chris. I literally just wrote down like I wanted an episode of this with you is. I think there's about, and I've read because I just got the steelbook, the 4K steelbook for Deadpool and Wolverine. Is like I think there's about 15 minutes of actual content of movie in this in Deadpool and
Yeah.
Wolverine, like just like
Sure.
literally just 15 minutes worth of actual content.
Yeah.
But
And
like
it's
that's a whole different. Like
beautiful.
that's what I think Marvel's.
Fucking awesome.
That's what Marvel struggles with. Is like
Well,
I
so
get
I
it,
mean,
but
that's a whole different debate
sure, and
on what is required of a Marvel slash superhero film to make it like good cinema, right?
Mhm.
I think it depends on like what that movie wants to accomplish, because if you think about the medium it comes from, which is the comic book inspirations, and I know you're making it in the movie medium, right? So it needs to
sure.
satisfy some things that need to be satisfied for that, but like a lot of people have only known up until the Marvel Cinematic Universe exploded. Good comic book stories came from comic books. They
Yeah.
came panel to panel, right? No movement, no real action in that sense. It was imagination. Few words. There's even a limitation on how many words you can fit per panel, right? So it's
Sure.
like it very much is a very open, kind of an open ended storytelling medium, which really let people's like what they kind of like see as these characters come to life in their heads as much as the story they're following along with. So to bring that to a movie, it does require good writing to make that happen, and we haven't seen that all the way through, right? We've only seen some 50-50 writing for a long time, then it got
Sure.
really good for a minute, and then it got really bad for now. So it's like there's a lot of things that play into that, I think, especially that medium.
Yeah, I mean, being able to make a story come off of a panel of a comic book onto the screen is hard enough to do. But the thing is a lot of times they end up reiterating those original comic book stories, which is what some people want, but
Yeah,
not what everybody wants, which is like the
yeah,
damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario.
yeah.
So
But
I don't think we'll ever.
isn't that kind of the Spider-Man thing? Like they've done the Uncle
yeah.
Ben story so many times now that,
Well,
Yep.
and the Superman thing. Like we've seen his parents die so many times. Like they've,
yeah.
you know,
My big thing on that is it's not so much like those things, like those are like canon events, to quote another movie that actually brings
Spider-Man.
it up. So like those are canon events. Those are things that are like key to the story. You don't have to tell them every time, but like they're key to characters. I think the main thing is that I think movie studios, Marvel and DC and all of them that are doing these films, they're afraid to do a direct comic book story because there's already a pre-written script or story for it, and if they mess it up, it's on them,
Yeah, it's
right?
true.
You know,
I get
that's
that.
to come in and just like recreate comic book issues 222 to 36, and just because that's like a really popular comic book story, I don't think they'll do that because of like that reason. There's like a preconceived notion of how successful it is, the fan base who will have expectations of it, and then if it doesn't go well, then it's their fault because they
Yeah,
didn't execute it.
you screwed it up. You had a great character and you couldn't
Yeah,
do
it
it.
gives them less
Yep,
leeway to kind of like like have that wiggle room for whatever reason they if it fails they want to be able to fall back on stuff.
I got that. I
You may
understand that.
be right about that. Actually, I've never considered that. That's kind of in the thinking of how they come up with these where they want them to go. Is like I guess I never that's a good thought though. I'd never considered that.
I think one of the things that like one of the few things in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that we've ever gotten that's like from the comics, besides like the characters themselves, obviously, is the fact that Thanos completed the gauntlet.
Sure.
There's so many other things that we've gotten that are all unique or like offshoot ideas that aren't like in like the most popular versions of these characters. So I do think that a lot of it comes down to they want to tell the obscure stories or they want to make up their own because then it's theirs.
Yeah.
And
Then
you know,
then if you get all the success, but if it fails, it
yeah,
fails.
we tried something new, blah blah
Yeah.
blah.
Oh,
And
people
then
didn't like
yeah,
it. Sure.
Speaking of obscure stories, I think it's safe to say we can move into the third Venom film, and I can add that to the conversation. We could still reference the other ones.
yeah.
However, um, I want to ask you guys a question.
Okay.
Was Venom, was this like you guys expected it? What
Hmm.
was this the movie you were expecting to get with the trailer we saw, knowing the first two films? Because for me, that answer is no.
Okay.
So I'll let you guys answer, but for me, the answer is absolutely not.
Good, Chris.
I'll go. Knowing that this was the last one we were getting, the last one that they said, I need to pull my hands back here so they're not so big. Look at that. Look how big those fingers are. Those big old phalanges. You like that? Anyway,
Stop doing that.
I think
Phalanges.
um I think I was ready for a lot of the things, like the twists that happened in this with a lot of the surprises. I was ready for them because they want to use certain things that they haven't got to yet because they're big pieces that will but people will tell their friends about, hey, you should go see it because so and so or such and such happens. Like that's gonna be a thing, and yeah, I think they wanted that, so I was ready to see all that. Now there were some things that surprised me, but the like what we saw at the end, like Act 3, not shocked about it all. Nothing in that shocked me.
No,
So
not at all.
I think for me, um, like this movie, there's a lot of stuff happening here,
Mm-hmm.
and for better or for worse, and I honestly think it's probably for the worse.
Mm-hmm.
I think they tried really hard to make this a very memorable movie, and it's like they tried too hard, in my opinion.
I was gonna say,
Uh, because, like, look, it's gonna be memorable for me for a while, not for the good stuff, and not really for the good stuff.
there's
Because,
some
like,
very specific decisions made
well,
that I'm wondering about.
so here's the thing, and we already talked about it in our discussion between Venom and then Let There Be Carnage. Like, hey, consecutively we had symbiote villains.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay, well, like let's triple down on symbiotes. Like,
yeah,
there is nothing else Venom can fight that is not like him.
yeah,
Like, what are we doing?
yeah.
Like,
However,
is that big fight scene at the end? Is it wild? Sure.
Oh, it's
Is it
wild.
like there's all kinds of crazy shit happening on the screen? Yes. Does it make the movie better?
I don't.
I don't think so.
There's moments.
I don't
well,
think
there's some
so.
moments.
the reason I got a different movie is because I mean, you guys chimed in when we first saw the trailer of we first saw the real trailer for Venom 3, The Last Dance. Is you guys talked about how those things coming to this planet to find Venom, that was a Avengers level event.
Oh God, yeah. So,
Yeah,
So
th-
they managed to
they're
eclipse-
unkillable.
So they managed to take this Avengers level event and bring it down to a one superhero movie Venom scale, which is
Well,
exactly what I was afraid of when you guys said how powerful those things are. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like that's what I was
it's not
worried
a-
about.
It's really like, and I'll be super nerdy for a second. It's not even that the fact that like they're super powerful. The person that sent
it's the
them Null
dude. Yeah,
is like the big bad.
yeah.
You
Like
mean
so.
you mean Arthas from Warcraft 3?
Listen, I mean, honestly, it could. Be
I
the
don't
same,
know that reference,
It
so
could have been
sure.
the same team.
Dude, it's the same. Oh my goodness gracious, that dude
but-
is Arthas.
But
Well,
listen,
so-
Null to go off of Roger's point here that I'm interrupting, and I'm
No,
sorry about.
yeah, you're good.
Null is literally like top 3 like possible big bads you could have if you want to end the cinematic universe. If you want to bring it all to a close and lights out everybody, he's the guy. Like that's him. And to have him just as some dude in a chair, the whole, like he's on the Iron Throne. Like what else does he do? Like
Sure.
nothing. And like like that's not the way to use him. He is such a big fucking threat in this universe, and to just to use him this way, oh man.
One of my favorite cards in Marvel Snap, by the way.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
One of my
Like
favorite
I
cards.
feel like the lady that wrote this and directed this, like she's been connected to all 3 of these.
Sure.
So I think she has passion behind this project. I think she may be a comic book / Venom fan. So that makes sense. Or she has someone that she looks at and goes, "Hey, who's the coolest villain we can do?"
You should
for
use
Venom?
Null.
And someone said Null. You know what I mean? And brought him into the fold. But like he is a big deal, and he would be really cool to see, but not like this. This is not. This ain't it. So
I'm glad you brought that up because she, the director of this one, and writer, one of the writers, Kelly Marcel, she actually did have
Yeah.
input on the others as well.
yeah, see,
And
yeah,
and
that's what I
and
thought.
and also, it's funny you bring that up because like she also had input in Cruella, which is another kind of we've only
Oh, yeah.
seen Cruella as a bad
Got it.
guy. Now we kind of changed our thing on that, but like that's interesting. And when I don't know if you guys noticed, but when you saw the credits scrolling, Tom Hardy's name was everywhere.
Sure.
Tom, he had a story credit, he had a screenplay credit, I think he had an
Yeah.
EP credit. So this must be like I don't think this movie would have gotten made if Tom Hardy had been like less bullish about it.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. He's kind of adopted Venom as like his baby. Like
Yeah.
he loves being Venom. He likes doing it, and it's all CGI, so he doesn't have to sit around and like dick around in makeup all day. So he really
Oh
appreciates
yeah, he
that.
probably likes that.
Yeah, because like, look, here's the thing. He does the voice of Venom as well. Just his voice doubled down on itself. Um, so like he likes doing it. It's not hard for him. I'm sorry. So I'm gonna shoot way left for a second here. Do you guys realize like this movie's only like 90 minutes?
Oh
It
yeah,
is, it's short.
It's a hard 90.
Like it's like,
It's 109 minutes, which is not far. Yeah.
but it's like, well, here's the thing. Like before the credits, because like stuff happens after the credits, of course, because it's
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
Twice,
But, like,
two credit scenes.
yeah.
because they can't help
Credits-
themselves.
because credits roll at like 96 minutes,
Mhm.
and there's like 15 more minutes of stuff
Yeah.
for me to watch. 40 seconds. At the
So
end.
wait, you guys both sat through the credit sequence?
Yeah.
I did not. I looked them up afterwards.
Okay,
so
fair.
I
That's,
knew there
that's
was
I
a
did.
screen.
So
Well, that's
just because I knew it was there.
I'm glad you bring that up because that's actually one of my biggest gripes is the cast of this film. Going into it, so this is written and directed by Kelly Marcel. Huge direct creative input and creative vision by Tom Hardy, but also Juno Temple, Stephen
Sure.
Graham, Peggy Lou, Andy Serkis, and Chiwetel Ejiofor. Which I think to have Juno Temple and Chiwetel Ejiofor in your film and not use them more than you could literally their roles could have been played by almost anyone in Hollywood who is castable. Those two are phenomenal actors who have either have amazing past or have wonderful things in their recent past that people loved and they were great in. Juno Temple, of course, Ted Lasso. Roger, you and I both love, and Chris is learning to
There are
love.
multiple Ted Lasso
Did you
characters
guys know
here.
that?
Yes.
I mean, like I noticed it too, but like also, what's his name? Danny Rojas is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cristo Fernandez.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. He is at the end of the second Venom movie when he gets blipped away.
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
at his bar in Mexico, which is ironic because that's where they start
Yeah,
this
true,
one.
yeah.
So I wanted
So-
to ask you guys that question is
Football
because
is life, coach.
Football's life.
Danny Rojas, who kills a dog coincidentally in
Stop.
Yeah.
Ted Lasso.
Whoa, you haven't seen that
Stop.
yet?
No, I saw that.
Oh, I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
dang.
That wasn't his fault.
I
You
mean-
say it like it's his
I
fault.
mean, you say that it wasn't. All I
He-
say is he hates greyhounds.
He kicked the ball that rocketed toward that greyhound that ended his life. I'm just saying.
Listen,
Anyway,
Danny Rojas, if you'd like to come onto this podcast,
That's right.
That's right. Defend.
Danny Rojas specifically, not
Yes.
the actor. We
No.
want you to come as
No.
Danny Rojas. Please,
Yes,
thank you.
that the invitation stands as written. Thank you.
so that's the thing is, so the first I remember there being post-credit scenes for at least the second one, and I'm almost positive there was one for the first one.
I'm sure there was.
I didn't
don't
go back and
remember it
revisit the first
specifically,
film.
though.
But so one I remember one of the post-credit scene in the end of the Venom from 2018. Check my note. 2018. I remember that kind of hinting that it was going to be put into the MCU. And then in the post-credit scenes in the end of Let There Be Carnage took it out of the MCU, and this one kind of places it back in the MCU somewhere because of the snap.
No, I think you have that backwards.
Okay, it
So
might be backward. Okay.
in 2, when he blips into the MCU.
Mhm.
Okay, so this first one may have been okay. They were saying, "Oh no, it's still separate. Trust us." But the second one put
Yep.
it in. This one takes it out. But I thought that was weird how they did. I mean, maybe it's because they thought they had to because the first two they had to keep it going.
Or
I
it was
don't know.
bait.
Was that
Like, there's a lot of reasons for them to do that. You know what I mean?
sure?
So,
But I mean, I don't.
I mean, they were decisions that were made though.
oh yeah.
Sure. I mean, before filming began, absolutely. But I don't know where I sit with that as far as like do I think it's cheeky? Do I think it's intelligent? I don't really know about that.
I
But
mean,
Well,
I like the joke about when he said when Venom in his voice says, I'm so sick of this multiverse shit" or something
yeah,
like that. You know, like that was funny. Like that's very tongue in cheek and very meta.
on
So
point right
yeah,
now.
good for them. You know, on that was actually a win. But I don't care either way at this point. Like the Venom movies haven't been in the MCU yet, and
No,
I don't really care
he's
about an
still not
MCU
technically.
version of Venom. I just want to see him in a Marvel movie at this point, in something Marvel, because I want to see him against those people, and I don't really care that this is or isn't in it because it's the third movie.
True.
I don't know if
well,
I disagree with
I have
so.
a counterpoint to that. I don't think Tom Hardy wants to do that. I think he's past that point in his career where he wants to be in a big Marvel film. I really think he's past that because at
I
this movie
disagree.
he seemed like he didn't really. To me, this performance of Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock, like to me, I never once thought he actually wanted to be there.
Well, I have a reason for that.
Okay,
He read the script.
Yeah, I was gonna say yeah.
that's
No,
that's
no, no, no,
that's
no.
fair. That's
That's
fair.
exactly that was the same line I thought. I was
Yeah.
like, this movie specifically, maybe not, but he's already
No.
been on. Like I said, he's already done an interview where he said he will gladly play Venom again, and he wants to fight. He wants to fight people from the MCU. Like he's said that he wants to do that.
Well,
He's ready for that.
he wants the MCU money for sure,
Well, of
but
course he
I don't.
does.
I think he's getting
Well,
paid either way, right? Like,
well, he's been paid for the 3. I don't think. I mean, whatever other payments, as long as there's nothing
yeah,
else, he has not received yet. So, but I mean,
well,
yeah,
let me derail this part of the
cool,
conversation.
perfect.
Well, no, but here's the thing. You'll see why I'm
Yeah,
going
yeah,
this
yeah.
direction. So, and I'll just be blunt here. Aren't you guys disappointed that Spider-Man's not in this movie?
Oh yeah, of
Like,
course.
I mean that legitimately, because like, look, there was never been a thing saying there would be, but like, this is the last Venom movie.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
quotations, phalanges, whatever Chris was doing there a minute ago,
Phalanges.
right? But like, this is the chance to do something, and this is the movie you give us.
or
With
even
the
some
movie that ends with Speed Force symbiote woman. Like,
right,
what the
right.
fuck are we doing
Well,
here?
I mean,
even if you
I
have
mean,
Tom Hardy
she's
or
real.
even if you have Tom, what's his name? Who's Spider Man?
Holland.
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 Even if you have Tom Holland, even Eddie Brock tells him to fuck off or whatever. Even if there's something simple like that, it seems like that would have been fan service enough to do the movie a great service. But that's just, was there no thought, or was it contract issues? What's the reason? Because someone brought it up at some point.
Of
We
course.
have
I
to put
mean,
Spider Man
you
in
have
this.
to.
Yeah.
You have to.
What I think is happening is that Sony has something that makes them money and they don't want to share it.
I mean, that's
Well, I mean,
fair, but
yeah. But
I,
okay, so let me talk about a completely separate movie then that is coming out very soon
Mhm.
in Craven the Hunter.
Yes.
Okay. So I haven't seen this movie. Obviously, it's not out yet, but I know who Craven the Hunter is. He is a Spider-Man villain. What are we doing?
He's completely hunky looking.
Well, I mean, he is handsome.
I mean,
He
Well,
has a
enough reason
lot
for
of
them to put it out.
abdominals.
well, this movie's already Craven the Hunter's already, even though it comes out shortly, has already kind of been put on the. I mean, it's like Morbius.
Sure.
It's
Well,
like
I mean,
Morbius
it's
level
done.
of this is like
Sure, it's
yeah.
done, but they got to do it. But I
Sure.
understand. But again, though, like now, obviously, Sony's little universe involves Spider-Man. It does, but he's also co-owned by the MCU. So, like, if you're Sony and you want to keep putting out characters, villain-based movies, okay, because that's what Craven and Venom are, and you continue to skirt around the issue of Spider-Man, like, why are you making the decision to use these characters? They have access to a whole bunch of other characters that they can still use that don't have to go directly against Spider-Man.
True, very
It
true.
doesn't make any sense to me. Like, this is a financial decision that they're making. Well, hey, we can't afford to put Spider-Man in every movie. Okay, I understand that. You could afford to put him in one movie.
Yeah. I mean, I think it goes back to the decision to do 3 movies with symbiotes, right? So it's
Well,
like,
yeah, that's the other
you
thing.
know, it's I don't know if they just couldn't get away from that, or if they think, people like Venom, like someone that isn't connected to comic books made a decision where they said people like Venom because he's a symbiote, and like they said,
Yes, that's
what's
it.
better than one symbiote? All the
More.
symbiotes.
Oh.
So
Well,
What if we don't have just more? They're all different colors.
yeah, well, that's actually a
Yes.
thing though. But
You
yeah,
sure, but you understand
yeah,
my
no, yeah,
point.
yeah.
Like,
But so it's like
how about pink, teal, purple,
well, but
brown? Let's go.
those were all fan service. I'm sure that those exist in the Venom world
they oh
somewhere.
they
Yeah,
do they do.
yeah.
But like
They even have
it's
names.
the whole like 3 movies with all these different symbiotes. I think it's because of that reason. I think someone made decisions or made demands, or like put the stamp of approval on that because they think that's why they like Venom. That's not how it works, but that's not the way some business minded people think. Right? That's
Sure.
just not how it works for them in their brains. So, but this is why they should be making those kinds of decisions.
Well,
But is
I
what it is.
also wonder too if they're like, we already know how to animate those things.
Okay, yeah, I already have assets and stuff.
Yeah,
That's
like
actually a good
we
point.
don't have to build
Yeah.
a new animation package
Mhm.
to animate this person
Yeah,
or
but
animate
it's
this
got to be more
character.
expensive to do all that CGI for all those things than it would be to put like an actor in for X amount of time instead, right? You know what I mean?
I mean, listen, probably, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know.
Yeah, we need Grayson to call him some favors, ask some people some stuff. I think.
I mean, I'll do my best. I promise. Um, I don't know how that works. I'm sure all these questions were asked, and most things were considered.
Mhm.
But I mean, they knew what they had in the script. Which, when you said Tom Hardy read the script, which I want to get
Mhm.
into the actual film here in a minute, but
Yeah, yeah.
he was one of the writers of the script. So I
Sure.
mean,
Well, so
he
hold
did
on.
it.
Well, no, hold on. Here's what I think is a possibility. Maybe he did read the script and said, "I'm not doing this unless I can make some changes."
Sure, and I totally
You know what I
understand
mean?
that. Yeah,
And then at that point, he does get writing credit at that point, right? So like
sure.
Yeah.
there's a chance that happens here because
Or
again,
he says, "This is my third Venom movie. I better get a writing credit."
maybe, yeah.
I mean,
Or
look,
maybe
that's
the
a lot
horse
of
was
reasons why
maybe the
people
horse
get
was his
executive
idea,
producer
so he gets
credits.
the writing credit for that.
I've been here long enough. You just give me the credit,
Yeah,
you know.
Especially when
yeah,
they
but
ask. Tom Hardy asks. Yeah.
yeah,
I
it's
mean, it's
just
just assumed you give Tom Hardy the credit, right?
Well, but
yeah.
those aren't
Well, like,
all those from the '90s have like giving out, your EP credits and like associate producer. Like those in the '90s that happened rampantly. But like
Hey,
that's
man, I watched Entourage. I know how it
sure,
goes.
yeah. I mean, but it doesn't happen as often as you think anymore. I wouldn't imagine, but
yeah, but still, but I think that is a real possibility that he probably didn't like what he read. It's like, listen, we can't do it this way. Like there has to be some changes here. Blah blah blah. I think that's
Hold up.
came up
What if it's the opposite? What if he was like, they had a great script, and he's like, no, more symbiotes. Fucking just rain them down.
no.
Oh
More
my god.
symbiotes, different colors. Let's do it.
Let's
Um,
do it.
What if Tom Hardy is a closeted super like Venom super fan, right?
Okay.
Has this is his favorite character he's ever read as a kid, blah blah blah.
Sure. Okay.
And whoever wrote this movie first, the first draft of this script had Null as the villain,
Mm.
had him out, like actually in the film down there fighting, and like Venom 1-on-1 beats him. He's like, absolutely not,
No, yeah.
absolutely not. Like I will not do
Like
this.
this dude can like create a black hole. We're not doing
But
that.
Yeah.
that's what I understand. Is like you have this guy, you gave him a credit sequence. Like if the Venom trilogy is done and there's no more Tom Hardy Venom, that guy just doesn't like. It's a waste for him to even be in this.
Sure.
Yeah,
So that's
I do
that's
do
what I ask
respect
of
though. It's
you.
Andy Serkis. Gotta love
Sure.
that. Yeah.
He's probably thinking the same thing. It's like,
Yeah.
God damn it.
God damn it! I want to do this for so long.
I
So
wanted that
let's-
Sony money. I wanted
So
that
let's talk
Sony
about the
money.
movie. So Roger, what's going on in Venom: The Last Dance?
Yeah.
I mean, lots of stuff, but honestly, nothing.
Well, where
Like
where is
it's
this
weird.
in-
It's weird to say that, right? So,
Hit us with
like,
the gist.
this is a buddy cop travel film where they gotta get from Mexico to New York, and they don't care how they're going to do it, and yet they're only going to get to Area 51 in Nevada,
Yeah, they
which
don't
is
make-
not the
never
direction you
make
would
it,
go,
yeah.
by the way.
No, not at
I
all.
think the New York thing was just to pull some heartstrings. Though,
Sure.
so,
But I mean, like that's the real story. Like
Yeah.
them trying to get to so Eddie's wanted for murder of Sullivan, which is
Yeah.
at the end of Let There Be Carnage, which I just remember that because I didn't go back and watch Let There Be Carnage before this.
Yeah.
Because
Same.
no. But so like he's definitely still alive though. He had got injected with a symbiote, which we find out
Mhm.
relatively early on. There's a whole like Area 51's a thing that's being decommissioned. And then we find out there's an Area 55 below Area 51
I want to know
because
what's in Area 52,
sure,
3, and 4.
yeah, like
But
we're
whatever.
missing areas. Like it could have been Area 52. That would have been clever, more cleverer.
What did
I know.
they?
But like they end up at this science lab, and then there's a bunch of symbiotes that they've caught. That they're not doing anything with it. Just keep them in a box, basically. Which isn't that the entire premise of the first Venom movie? We keep symbiotes in a box.
Yep.
Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
It's a good question. It's a good
Well, okay,
question.
okay. The one thing I really want to talk about, and we only have to talk about it for 30 seconds, but it's so fucking dumb to me.
Is the
I have to bring it
family?
up. So
Is the family?
no, well,
No.
no, because like at least I understand that.
Yeah.
Can we talk about him on the airplane for a second?
Please, because I have something to
Well,
bring up that's
well,
linked to that.
okay. That's super early in the movie, and I'm like, this makes zero sense at all.
Yes.
What we
He
doing?
decides that he's going to go as a wanted fugitive, that he is going to get himself from Guadalajara, Mexico, which is where he's at,
Mhm.
to New York City, and he's going
Which-
to get on an airplane.
Quick question:
Sure.
Is Guadalajara like in open rebellion, like an actual war zone of a place?
Guadalajara, no. Other places in central Mexico, yes.
Because there's just a truck on fire and no one like in the middle of the street and
Yeah.
no one's batted an eyelash at that. You know what I mean? Just walking
Right.
through town, it's fine.
But so
Continue.
he somehow gets to an airport, gets through security, and attaches himself to an airplane as it's flying. Okay, so like, look, I understand when he is in full Venom suit, he's basically indestructible.
Yeah.
You know, he can heal. Venom heals him, keeps him alive. He is not in the full Venom suit. He is attached himself via Venom creepy hands and is flying, and he's talking about how cold he is. You know, not that he is dead from oxygen asphyxiation.
Hold on. And they say they're at 31,000 feet.
Yeah,
They
no,
do.
he's dead.
Like
He's dead.
yeah,
He's
100%.
dead.
But then they double down on the fact that he's not dead by having an alien land on the fucking plane. Get sucked through the jet.
And we
the
never
jet turbine.
revisit if those
No.
plane people are okay.
Nope.
Are they dead?
Oh,
They're
they've gotta
dead,
be
right?
dead.
They're dead, dead.
Because the thing that sucked in would have destroyed the engine, and like that whole
Exactly.
engine's done.
Exactly.
Yeah, we never go back.
No.
We never mention that again in the
No.
movie, which is kind of crazy.
An
That's the-
entire Airbus 308, which is what he says it is,
Yep.
is
There's
gone.
a lot of people on that plane.
Just gone.
That is a 6-person per row seat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's
is a
the
lot of people on the
that's the
plane.
missing Malaysia flight, I guess. Is
Jesus.
But no, you're not wrong of how we never revisit. We never learn the fate of those people, which would have also been dead.
Well,
Yeah,
here-
it's just
here's,
it's very strange.
here's the next piece of that. So, also, people don't know how flight distance works because where that creature lands in pieces is completely wrong, but it's fine. It lands technically backwards, but it's cool. The other thing that bothered me about he goes into full Venom suit, right?
Yep.
Which is what tips it off that he's there. Venom tells Eddie Brock this, right? He says, "Hey, listen, when we go full suit,
They
then
can
that's
track
where-
me."
That's how they know where we are." And then they have the dancing queen segment later on. That is like that scene irritated me beyond belief because it's like there's no way he was so cautious and so worried and so we can't transform right now. There's no way, blah blah blah, and like he
Yeah.
wouldn't. But then a half hour later in your movie, he's literally like YOLO. Let's just transform and dance.
Can we talk about how Venom takes place in like 24 hours too?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like a
it's quick.
24-hour window?
Yep.
Which is
24-hour timeline.
strong.
90-minute movie. This
Well,
thing
okay,
was
so
moving.
I'm sorry. I have one other question too about how they can track the codex.
Yeah.
I gotta quit doing that on camera. When he venomizes a horse,
Yeah.
is
Doesn't
that
that count?
horse not in full
Doesn't
Venom
that count?
suit?
Again, a question that I don't think the screenwriters
Yeah.
When
even
he's
asked.
a Venom fish?
Doesn't that count? And a Venom frog, which is actually I thought was really funny. However, why wouldn't you be the fish and swim really fast? It's fine. I had questions while I was watching this movie
Why can't he just be a bird?
Yeah, exactly.
and just carry him.
For the same reason why Gandalf can't just fly over Mount Doom and just drop the ring. Like, I mean, seriously, that's the question. So yeah, you're right. But again, it's like a layer of removal from the movie. Is if you think about that
Yeah.
stuff, then you're not shoving
I mean,
popcorn in your face.
Is
and
the
enjoying it.
Venom horse cool?
Yes,
Sure.
of course.
It was kind of
Is it necessary?
No.
No.
So here's the thing. You like you say that, Grayson, where like you have to remove that like these are things that happened, better or worse and all that kind of stuff. But like, they don't happen in all superhero films,
No.
right?
Good ones, they tend to not.
You know, these happen in new Marvel stuff, and every other studio that tries to do superhero films is when these things happen,
Sure, and
and they're not good.
I mean, like, shit like this wouldn't have flown in Iron Man 1. Just saying. Cap 2.
Sony I think, has the most egregious track record of doing stupid shit with the superhero films at this point. DC just makes they make terrible mistakes, don't get me wrong, but like things like this, I can only remember happening in basically Sony's Spider-Verse at this point. It doesn't go well for them because of the decisions they make. I don't know what it is that they're trying to capture the Marvel goofiness of it all, if they're trying to like do their own thing and they think it's going to resonate with fans. It's not, though. So I don't know why they do these things, because it just doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand why people can't look at the framework that you're given for superhero films, from superhero content that is already enjoyed by people, and say, "Oh, that's kind of cool. Let's do this again somewhere." Not saying it's the
Sure.
same story, but like you have the actual story beats of how things happen in comic books and popular issues. Like, you have the crib notes, you have the cheat sheet. Just do the cheat sheet, people. Like, I don't understand why those kind of decisions are made when it comes to superhero films or anti-hero films or whatever you want to call them. Like,
Comic book movie.
yeah, you're right. Just in general, it's like I don't get that. Like, god damn it, just make it cool and
Well,
don't make it stupid.
the thing is when I think when they try to make it cool, like basic storytelling fails at that point. Like in this movie, like Strickland, Chiwetel Ejiofor's character here, what's his motivation?
Yeah.
Like, we don't know. Here's the thing: we're never going to find out
Nope.
what's going on here. Getting struck by lightning, you know, gives this lady like loses the part of her arm, kills her brother somehow, which is okay.
He became the ground, essentially.
Sure.
I guess.
But like, we get these little snippets of something, and then 100 minutes later, this movie's over, and none of that stuff gets resolved.
Well, none of it
And
matters.
then here's the
Yeah.
thing, though: we get a terrible line between Strickland and Payne, where Strickland's like, "Is this the world your brother would have wanted to see?" What the fuck, brother?
You mean when they were
You let
like
the aliens here?
Yeah.
You did this.
You mean when
What are we
they were
doing?
You mean when they were 10, that's what he wanted to envision?
God. Yeah, like, look, he expected the aliens to come down in rainbow colors and fight like literal wood chippers of aliens.
Listen, hold on. I'm gonna fight you on this. Those were cool as shit.
Wood chippers are awesome.
Okay. I was gonna say I don't want to besmirch these creatures,
But it even made the wood chipper noise.
I know. Listen, those things were good at one thing, and it was being terrifying.
Like-
I honestly, that would have been a cool ass monster movie thing to see, because that thing is cool as shit looking, and that wood chipper effect, fucking terrifying. They don't got no guts or no intestines, dude. They don't need that. They're just like, mouth done.
A carapace full
they're
of
not-
laser teeth.
They're not that much different than the Quiet Place things either. I mean, like they are different, but like they're not a whole lot different. They kill quickly
I mean,
and they're
by the fact
indestructible.
that they have multiple legs.
Well, but they're very quick. They're damn near indestructible and they kill quick. So
Sir,
I mean
did
that's
you see the
basically.
teeth?
I saw the toofs. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
how it
I
like
was-
it'll rotate
Can
like
we
a
talk
wood
about how they
chipper?
can just
Yeah.
teleport?
Huh?
They can just teleport too.
Oh god, yeah.
But like who was
bullshit?
so was the dude throwing them in, like did he do the teleporting? Is that
No.
what we're to understand?
No,
I
they're
mean,
doing the teleport.
They, as far as I understand, they have independent teleport
Well
capabilities.
then the Earth is in a lot of trouble because
Yeah, doomed.
two of those things just destroyed Area 51. So a whole army of those things, U.S. military's gone. Yeah, it's just weird. I mean, a
Well,
lot of decisions here,
okay.
but this is the movie. Like to me, it's like,
I
You-
have
you-
military questions.
well, look, we don't need to go to those. However, but
I think
this
we
is-
should.
But this to me is like it's a movie that if you remove the layer of questions, then you can sit there with a soft drink and some popcorn and just enjoy it. That doesn't make
Yeah.
it good, but it does. I mean, it does make for an enjoyable Saturday afternoon or
I mean,
something.
It's a popcorn movie.
Yeah,
it is.
Listen, did I hate this movie? No, it was nothing spectacular. the best part of this movie we got is a snip, right? So like I want to pose a question to you guys.
Okay.
Would you have had like instead of this movie, would you have been okay? Even though this is one of our complaints, would you guys been okay with a movie that had all six of those symbiotes out there doing shit, or instead of like the weird like, come together Power Ranger style we got at the end, like the whole villain could have been the symbiotes got loose and
Well,
they're like out there doing shit. He's got to fight them all, or just the creature and all side of it and have a different set of circumstances come together for how like Eddie Brock and Venom have to overcome this and give their lives to protect whatever to do something. You know what I mean? Like or is the combined version the only version of this that works?
if we go into that scenario, we get Shazam 2, and no.
Okay,
So,
happened in Shazam 1.
well,
Yeah, it
I
did.
mean, the entire premise of Shazam 2 is there are multiple of them that can't work together as a team,
Okay, yeah.
and that's what they have to
Yeah,
do.
but I'm
and-
saying, what if those symbiotes were all evil? Right?
Oh, okay.
That's
Well,
what I
I'm
mean.
sorry, I didn't
Yeah.
put
No,
that
no,
together.
that's fair. That's fair. No, like, what if all the symbiotes are evil and like they're the ones, like they're the fucking. Evil?
However, hold on, but like Venom is special.
But then
right?
again, though, we
No.
still for the third movie are just fighting symbiotes.
Yeah, I know. That's why I prefaced it with I know this is one of our complaints,
Yeah.
but I think that's better than this.
Well, but like
Maybe.
that's the thing with just fighting symbiotes is like Venom's powerful. What do you put in his way that's not a symbiote? That's the thing. Is like
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
but they don't.
This is an easy question.
The Punisher.
But Sony doesn't want to.
Hulk?
But Sony doesn't want to do that. That's or the MCU doesn't want to do that, and Sony doesn't
Well,
want to do that.
that's
so.
apparent.
So that's
I
that's
mean-
my point, though. Is like they don't want to do that. So they won't do it.
Hobgoblin.
Okay,
Hobgoblin
well,
has sound
he's
bombs.
he's someone I could see. However, but what I don't have a problem with him fighting symbiotes because like Carnage is Carnage. I forget who was the villain in the first one.
I can't remember the name of it. He's the big silver version of Venom.
Yeah.
Right. So by the way, is so
I'm kind
Venom,
of a loser, Eddie.
so Venom's not special compared to these other symbiotes.
Nope.
Because he
No,
needs
Usually-
he's not.
So
He's not.
one of Venom's things of why he is so strong is because of his bond with Eddie specifically. They bond together so well it enhances Venom's powers.
Mhm.
Where some symbiotes, when they bond with people, they kill them. They drain their life force.
Yeah.
Eddie can sustain Venom and helps Venom thrive, and that's what makes him as powerful as he is.
Yeah.
okay. I wonder
Technically-
because he seemed to be special.
Technically, Venom's actually one of the weaker of the symbiotes in his original form.
Yeah, and he actually mentions that in the first movie. Like,
Yeah.
the joke I just made is, where I come from, I'm kind of a loser, Eddie.
So can I
Like-
ask? Can I ask an obvious question?
Sure.
Sure.
The coin that he leaves with a piece of himself, which all you need is a small piece. Why in the hell did he do that?
So the dork sciencey version of it is Venom is a virus and he's trying to replicate. That's what they do. That's
Yeah, but
what
like, wouldn't
symbiotes
Venom
do.
know by doing that he's spreading himself and he doesn't know?
Let me ask you a
that.
question in return.
Okay.
Why would he be worried about that at that point in the film?
Well, he wouldn't, but he knows how symbiotes replicate, and he knows
Well,
he's come to like some people that Eddie is
did
friends
you not
with.
watch the end credits thing?
No, I did. It's just I was just wondering because
Yeah.
it seems like someone that in the third film, Venom and Eddie Brock, as bonded as they are, wouldn't have left a piece of himself on a random bar somewhere with a coin. He just wouldn't have done it. That's what
Well,
I'm
I
asking
mean-
about.
He also wouldn't have turned into his full self and danced with the weird Chinese lady.
Also, a problem. I mean, as funny as that was, I had a major
wasn't
issue.
funny.
with
It wasn't
that.
funny.
It was stupid.
I agree with you, but like it was funny for like a second, and then it just got old. But I don't understand why they made so many. So they must have thought that in their when Sony was putting this together, they must have thought that like the recurring thing of the family, which it had some thematic reason to happen. His obsession with the Empire State, the Statue of Liberty,
Yeah.
because he himself is an invader that is trying to
Mhm.
become legitimate. It's just one of those things that like that's how you are welcomed. So he wanted to be welcomed. I mean, I can see
But
why they chose to do what they do, but like it doesn't. I don't think the idea with like dancing with Mrs. Chen. I don't even think Mrs. Chen being in this movie helped it. I think it's kind of
Well,
a detraction from.
It does.
So here's the thing: why do we have Reese Ifans in this movie? One of the from Spider-Man Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man as Kirk Connors, right?
Mhm.
Like you could have put anybody else. You had to pick somebody who's already played a Spider-Man villain to be part of another Spider-Man
Yeah.
movie.
Because Juno Temple, Chiwetel Ejiofor, and Reese Ifans had contracts that needed settled, that needed like satisfying. So they just said, "How about we put you in this movie and we're done?" You know. I mean,
Yeah,
honestly,
maybe.
that's as good an explanation as any. I just otherwise I can't understand why those decisions were made because you didn't
Yeah, it doesn't. It's
you
not.
you had Chiwetel, but you didn't use Chiwetel. You know, like
Nope.
you know what you had Reese, you didn't use him. You had Juno, you didn't use her. So that's
What
my thing.
What did you guys think of the family and like their element in the movie?
I mean, they're fine, but like they're there for the exact reason you think they're there.
Yep.
So Eddie can be a good person to these
Yep.
people, so he can save them. Because like, look,
Or
the
rather,
one
so
thing is,
Venom could save them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
okay, sure,
Thanks for the chocolate, kid.
but thank you for the chocolate.
I hate it so much.
But it's like them being there. Well, we understand why it's unnecessary. Like we all understand Venom is not a bad guy overall, right? He will do what he needs to do to protect himself and others. Like that's the lethal protector aspect of it. That's one of the things you love to say about Venom in general. Like there's no reason to think he would eat his family or kill them or whatever. Like this version of Venom that we have gotten, there's no thing saying he would do that.
Yeah.
Why does he keep losing his fucking shoes?
If this movie, if this movie wasn't PG-13, that family's not in this movie.
Sure, and I totally agree with that.
Is
Does,
what it comes
okay.
down to.
Does it make it better or worse?
It makes that this family makes the movie worse. It's these are those eye rolly things that are in every superhero movie that doesn't like it isn't necessary for the actual storytelling of what is happening. We've already established that Eddie Brock is a good guy and he's reeled Venom in. So why is this family here? Like, what is the point of it? They're like, I know the movie has specific things that are happening, but if you remove them from the film, we would gain nothing new about Venom and Eddie. Nothing.
That's true.
We're just repeating old story at this point and making something recurring and funny because I don't know, it's funny when, weird people in a van interact with our guy who believe in aliens. Like I don't get it. And then you have the unrealistic side of it, and I know I'm harping about realism in
It's
a
okay.
Sony movie, but like then we have the unrealistic part of it where they break into to the decommissioning area 51. They
They don't break in, they walk in.
they walk in to this thing. They snoop around as a family, which I'm a dad. My kids are never walking into something like that. I'll come back later by myself. You know what I mean? Like
I'll be the only one committing federal crimes today, thank you.
yes, exactly. So, but it's like they break in, and then later on he sneaks back in, uses a bazooka, and saves him. Like it's just all these things. Like these are the things that are
Where
like
did he get the bazooka?
because it's just lying around.
Yeah, apparently it's just lying on some truck somewhere. It's just lying around.
That's that, and he knows how to load it because
I don't think it was loaded.
they're not preloaded, and then B, he figures out how to take the safety off and activate it.
Use the
and then
targeting
fire it.
system and
And
fire
then fire
it.
it from close range.
Well, it's just
Well, like-
it's weird. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well,
It-
if you want to talk about dumb decisions like that, like also towards the end of it there, so like when Eddie gets on the motorcycle, because like we've seen Eddie Brock ride motorcycles,
Mhm.
many times. Like
Yeah.
he's one of the things he's actually good at is riding a motorcycle.
Yeah.
And like he's like, oh, I'm going to lead him away, get the chopper, we're going to shoot these things down.
Yeah.
So like he tells him this, and Strickland radios into the chopper. All of a sudden, though, 4 guys in a dune buggy come peeling out in between
Yeah.
Eddie and the giant alien monsters. Like, what are you doing? No one asked for. Get the fuck out of the way.
Because we have X budget to use. Damn it, we're
Yeah.
gonna use
It's
this.
like, look, we already rented this truck for the week. We're gonna use it. We're gonna use that truck.
yeah.
But also, so like they have the helicopter that does nothing.
Oh yeah.
Nothing.
I don't know.
It
It's-
shoots, but again, nothing.
Where's the thermite?
Well,
I don't
here's the
think
thing. It takes them too long to realize that. It takes them too long to realize that Eddie Brock isn't meant to harm anybody. He's trying to help them. Like these military guys. Like if it was that if that was one of the story arcs, it took too long to get there.
This
And
man
I-
is not our enemy.
And I don't even think it ever did get there because
Straight
like
from fucking Man of Steel, Superman.
because
This man is
Strickland
not our enemy.
Strickland was intent on killing all the symbiotes, and that's what he doesn't get until it's too late. But any idiot with any tactician's kind of in his repertoire of what he's done would realize, hey, they're not hurting. Like it's just more stuff that doesn't make any sense.
Well,
And
I
that's what I'm
did
trying to
learn today,
say.
though, that you can kill a symbiote with a single RPG rocket.
Mhm.
You can.
I mean, just
I
I
mean,
mean,
the one thing about this movie I did like, of course, you guys probably rolled your eyes knowing that I liked it was, of course, the
yes, definitely.
sacrifice.
oh yeah.
Yes, of
So
course.
listen, the sacrifice was bound to happen, so I
Sure.
wasn't as hard on it
It's
in
the
this.
last dance, baby.
I don't know why that Eddie didn't just or Venom didn't just do what he did earlier and contain them while all the
Yeah, like
other
that seems like something you would have been like, "Hey, I think I can do this."
yeah, or like
Well, maybe it's because he's not with Eddie. He's got to be off of Eddie to do that.
okay,
Oh yeah, okay. Well,
you
you're
know,
right. You're right.
you got six other track stars there. You got six athletes with you in Venom suits. You got six dudes in your hit squad besides you. Why not do that first?
I mean, use a chick with a speed force.
Well, she didn't come to the very end, but still. But it's
And
like,
Like
did we also
technically, she should be able to time travel.
did we also miss the scene where Christmas took Venom into herself to give it back
yes,
to? So
they
Yeah,
that
didn't show
wasn't in the
that.
movie.
they
Yeah,
Like,
didn't
I didn't
show it.
think so
No,
because like that was
she
an odd.
stared at it
yeah, she stared
longingly
at
down
it
the
longingly
stairs.
as it went down. And
Okay,
then said,
so okay,
you know
that's-
what? I want this, and then she took it.
So
I
here's-
apparently-
must steal the biological
yeah,
weapon.
So
because
here's
there's no protocols. In this
here's a
place.
question I want to ask you then is there a longer like did they cut this down to 106 minutes or
They
was
had to, right? There's got to be a
Yeah.
2.5 hour.
No, that well for that scene specifically, no. Superhero films have been doing that cheeky shit forever, where there's like they'll show you one thing and show you that there's a glimpse of something beyond behind the curtains, and then later on they're the person that saves the day.
So
that happens all the fucking time.
can I ask you a question that like I literally looked at my wife in the theater and asked what when Christmas looks at the one guy, she have you talked to your family lately? What was that about?
Because
well
she's got a
because
backstory, dog.
they're all going to die and they want to make sure
Well,
they talk to
Here's the thing though. At that point in that movie, they weren't in any danger.
Yeah, but it was the whole like I don't know.
Actually, I don't remember when that was. When does he ask her that?
So Christmas asked the one random lab tech, she's like, have you talked to your family lately? Like all somber, like
Mm.
you remember what I'm talking
No,
about?
I
though?
know.
Like it was just so
It
out
was
of place.
after they got the warning about null.
Yeah, it was just like, what the hell?
Well,
yeah.
because it's maybe they know it's an extinct. Chiwetel's like he's coming to kill everything.
Yeah.
So I mean, it had to have been somewhere in that segment. So
Whatever.
well, it's
it was just so out of place.
What the thing about the first two Venom movies work.
Mhm.
There's not a lot. I mean, it might be kind of outlandish and out there, but they work to a point where like you're not asking these stupid fucking questions.
Well,
You know what I mean?
I don't know. I asked a
No.
lot of stupid questions during Carnage.
Carnage. I had a lot of questions. I don't think I was a part of the podcast.
You were not part of the original Venom.
Yeah, so we didn't talk
On a
about the original
show
Venom.
that
I had
was
a lot.
on.
I had a lot of problems with that movie, but I was excited to see Venom, like I said.
Sure.
But like, I mean, I think this is the worst of the three. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Okay, so
like,
that was the question I was going to ask. Is
Easily.
this better or worse than the second one? Well, because like, look,
second one has its problems.
I don't personally. It's not as good. The first one's still the best Venom movie.
Oh, great.
Okay, not
Yeah.
here's the thing. It's not even close.
Mhm.
After watching this movie, I had to like play the mental gymnastics in my brain. Like, is this actually better or worse than the second one? And I kind of come up with like it's a draw,
Mm.
where they're both equally so bad that I can't rage one better or worse than the other.
This is worse than the second one. This is the worst of the three for me.
Okay,
And the
okay.
reason why is because we know the first one is leaps and bounds better.
Which is funny because it's really not that good.
It's not that good. You're right, but it's better. The second one has an actual like starting point and a through line to the end point.
Okay.
It's not as there's not as much things happening and in a bad way. You can have a lot going on and handle it, but they don't. But like there's all these weird side things happening. It doesn't have as much bad decision making from a movie making standpoint, not even from a character story standpoint, but from like a movie making standpoint.
Okay.
Like they had to, like they turned Venom into the enemy's MacGuffin. Which
Okay.
is stupid. They had Venom set rules for himself that he can't do, and then he breaks his own rules.
Broke them all.
They did the whole convenience thing by having Mrs. Chen there. She's been winning all day, so now she has the penthouse suite. Of course she does. So he can go take a shower. Of course he can.
I do appreciate that Venom's a degenerate gambler, though.
That makes sense.
That resonates.
It makes sense. But like,
It's very Eddie Brock, though.
oh yeah. But like all these things, like and more, are in this film.
Okay.
The second one doesn't have these. The second one is just a disappointing way for them to bring a character in and close them out.
How long was the second one? Do we
I don't
remember?
remember how long it was. I think it was 120 plus though. I think it was 2 hours.
I can
I
tell
might be
you.
wrong.
Give me 1 second.
One third? No, it's
Oh,
almost
it's also
exactly the
hard 90.
same.
Also
Yeah.
hard 90. Maybe
97
that's in
minutes.
Tom Hardy's contract.
Well, shit. Because here's the thing. What am I wrong? Is the first Venom long?
I
It
thought
might be
I thought it
'cause
was 2 hours plus.
Well,
It's
2 hours.
152.
152.
Yeah.
Huh.
Interesting.
Yeah. Which is
Yeah.
weird because like I'm not the biggest long movie fan, but like I feel like this movie needs more time. But then here's the thing. Then I don't want more time because if it's just more of what
Yeah.
we got, I don't want to
Yeah.
see that.
So I was gonna ask you if we get more time, where do we spend that in this film? Does he walk longer in the desert? Is he on the plane longer?
Oh God, I
Um,
hope so.
I don't. That's a
Well,
good
maybe we
question.
address the
Do we see
500
it?
dead.
Do we see him get on the plane? Maybe you know what I mean. Like what do we gain from longer runtime here? I don't think it's anything. I think we just see more shit movie.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
Because like it's this is not good.
That's what I think anyway.
Well,
It's
you're
just
not wrong, and that's unfortunately the problem with this movie is it's. I mean, we can move into
Talking about it, like final thoughts and stuff.
final
Yeah.
thoughts, and I'll go first. Is I don't think this movie works without a longer cut, but like what Roger said is like I'm not sure I want that longer cut
Mhm.
because I don't there would almost have to be a 30-minute longer cut for this movie to make the most sense, and I don't.
God, I couldn't imagine 30 more
I
minutes.
don't
of
even
this
know
shit.
where what they would connect. You know what I mean? Like
Well, they could tell a story.
Yes,
They could.
they could
Yes.
start there.
They
No,
could
you're right.
start with
You're
the
right.
story
Yeah.
story beats.
I think the
and then, like,
idea is
work on
solid.
them.
Here's the thing. I think the idea of solid. If you started the conceptualizing of this film with, well, you have Eddie and you have Venom, and by the end of this film, one of them is dead. Which one? Like, if you have that kind of, you're separating them because that's what the poster would suggest.
Mhm.
Then I think that's a very strong way to start. However, I don't know if they ever even go down the suggested alleyway of their own promotional material, and that's I think a problem. But
You think they looked at the promo material?
well, I mean, Sony, I don't think has a great track record with stuff like this. And maybe that's a problem. Maybe that's
Well,
within Sony somewhere that
I agree with that.
The question I would ask, besides financially for the first Venom movie, have any of these Sonyverse movies been critically or financially successful?
well, it depends on
I don't think so,
are we
right?
well, Spider-Verse is those are both incredibly successful.
The Amazing Spider-Verse.
No. Well, yeah, the two animated films.
Oh,
I don't you're correct. Yes, critically and financially. I meant for like the live action though, cuz like think of this lineup that we get and like it's hilariously bad. Like we get the 3 Venom movies. We get Madam Web. We get Morbius. We get Craven and
Are
there's
these all
something else in
Sony?
the middle. What's that?
Are those all Sony?
Yes. All of them.
God.
They're gonna make up most of our next bad superhero film episode. Yeah, that's
God.
it's unfortunate, but like Sony won't let these things go, and I'm sure the MCU's like, well, now we don't want them. So
Yeah. Well, it's. I don't think it's so much as Marvel doesn't want them. They don't want to buy them right now. I don't think they can. They can afford them at the moment. So there's that, and they already have Spider-Man, so they don't need the rest of the Sonyverse currently as it stands. I don't know. Like it's if we're talking about like last thoughts on like our experience here, this movie is
That's all of them.
it's got a lot of like I have a lot of problems with this movie, but at the same time, it's not the worst superhero film I've seen lately. You know what I mean? Like
No.
I've seen far worse in the last 2 years.
That's
Things
not a
that
ringing endorsement for anything though.
no,
no, it's
you're
not. It's
right.
not.
You're right.
But it like comparing like thinking about the movie itself, storytelling wise, did I have fun watching the things that are happening? I mean, I get to see Venom do Venom things. I get to see some other very interesting symbiotes that we I thought I'd never see on screen come on screen for at least a minute. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So
Sure.
we did get that.
All right.
We get a cool looking monster creature as a villain, which I do respect. That I love that design. I think that's cool as hell. You know, so like
Xenophage.
yeah, so like along like all of those things, I like those things. You know, and it's a if this was a 2 hour film, I'd have more of a problem. But it's a hard 90, and we get to where I want to be pretty quick. And along the way, some stuff happens. It's just there's nothing essentially, except for the opening act of this, which is kind of cool, and then and then the final act where there's any action. It's a lot of nothing until then. So, I mean, those are my final thoughts
Yeah.
on it.
I mean, so for me, like this movie's not very good. If you've watched this video to this far and you think that I was going to say that it was good, like maybe you weren't paying attention.
Yeah,
But like I don't expect these all to be winners,
yeah.
obviously, but like this is kind of I mean, this is hilariously bad at moments. Like so much dumb stuff going on. And it really is just like somebody's like, just do more of that. Give me more of this.
Mm.
And no one's telling people not to do things like that. And like that sucks because Venom rules. So like this here's the thing. Hypothetically, this could be the last time we ever see Venom on screen, and that's a fucking travesty.
It won't be. I promise you, it
Well,
Yeah,
won't
no,
be. But
okay. You can say that, but like you have no guarantee,
yeah. As it
well,
stands now, we don't get any more of this. So you know
right?
what I
No,
mean?
like look, do I believe that this is the last time we see him? Absolutely not. Would I be surprised if they said, "Hey, we scrapped all Venom projects"? I'd be like, "Well, yeah, of course you did. Last movie was terrible."
We scrapped all
I don't
Venom
think
projects.
it's.
Morbius 2 is on its way, by the way.
Yes, thank God.
Wait, I don't. I don't think it's in the realm of terrible. I just don't
I
think it's got many redeeming qualities.
I
But I
mean,
mean,
like,
I'm.
look,
Well,
the short answer is this a movie a pass or a fail? This is a fail, and it's not even close.
mm,
Yeah, I would say it's a fail. But to me, it's closer to a pass than you think because at least I think it's entertaining. If you look again, if you strip away some levels of questions, it's entertaining at least. But I mean, that's not a ringing endorsement either. So because there's a large chunk of this movie that just doesn't make any sense.
yeah.
No, it doesn't make any sense, and it's bad at doing it.
Like there's, I mean, just on the one question of like there's no guard presence at Area 51 at all. No military guard presence. Like that's one of
Decommissioned zone.
there's that's one of a dozen things that's like
Active
wait a minute,
destruction zone.
that doesn't make any fucking sense. And like it
Yeah.
just that's one of, and it's just that's the least that's the least offending thing if you ask me,
Can we
and
talk
that's
about the
still
giant vats of acid? How cool that actually is,
but
though.
like or why were they there? They're only there like them being there
Well, they're
makes no
there to
fucking
melt
sense.
stuff. Well, no,
But them
they're
being
there because the plot says they need to
but
be.
them being there
Drew.
doesn't make any sense, and that's an issue because like why are they even there?
I want to melt this truck. Hell yeah, brother, do it. Do
Um,
it.
I don't know. So I mean, so to give it our official pass or fail, um, again, new we're this is episode 1 pilot. We're kind of like test filing some feelers. I think I'd like to 3, 2, 1 us in, and then we just give our thumbs up, thumbs down, say pass or fail. Essentially, I think we just rapid fire it, go from Grace and Roger then me. I think that'd be good. So literally like pass, pass, fail kind of deal. So I'll count us in. Grayson, are you ready?
sure.
All right. So 3, 2, 1. What do you got?
Fail.
Fail. Fail.
Yeah, I mean it's unfortunate because like I don't like to do this to movies because whoever made this movie is going to do more than I will ever do as far as making a movie at this point. I haven't made a movie, but like again, it's unfortunately like it just didn't come together as a product. And that's a problem. So, especially where we are in movies, is like Sony knew what this had to be to get butts in the seats. And
I
maybe they're not as bad off as we think they are because they
I
didn't
heard
do those
somebody
things.
I heard somebody in like the review space say something along the lines of, if you liked Venom 1 and 2, you'll like Venom 3.
And that's very fair.
I actually disagree with that.
Oh, you
I
think it's
don't
that
think
bad?
that's true for this movie because of the fact that nothing happens again from that opening fight with the Guadalajara gang
Okay.
and the final act. There's nothing besides him running away at one point from the military and floating down the river. So like if like even if you liked Venom 1 and 2, there's not nearly as much action in this besides a big set piece at the end.
Okay.
And you get to watch Eddie Brock do a walking simulator for a while. You know what I mean?
Why
Like
does he
that's all
keep
it
losing
is.
his shoes?
And I don't know. It isn't a compelling story. It's not a compelling thing to see on screen. Everything that you want to see happens in the dark because of course it does with CGI. It's just a lot of big
Hey,
negatives.
can I ask you guys one more question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did this film look worse than the original film as far as the bringing Venom to life?
So okay, so I was gonna bring it up, but nobody else talked about it. So during the end of this, like there were some real issues that I was noticing with like the graphics
Yeah.
or the CGI in general.
Mhm.
Like they were sloppy,
Yeah.
and like we have talked about in other things that we have done, talked about Multiverse of Madness,
Yeah.
Doctor Strange, about how bad the CGI is. Like this is close to that.
Mhm.
Like it was really not
There's
good.
there's some tough spots when we get the Speed Force Venom suit at the very end. If you
Mhm.
notice, her arm doesn't look right.
Yeah.
Like one of her arms looks completely wrong. It's like twisted backwards and stuff, but the elbow isn't bending. It's like
Mm.
it's really weird. And I know she's a symbiote and she doesn't like she could do that, but like it's a visual mistake.
Well, it's
I
like
think.
the video of the Flash running through
Yeah,
the Speed Force and his legs are flying the other way. It's like who the fuck runs like this? You guys
yeah,
ever seen that video? Hilarious.
yeah. There is some rough CGI in this, and they still try to do it in the dark, and they still couldn't make it past.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's an unfortunate thing that we see too many times, and as the third and final Venom movie in this trilogy, it's sad to see it happen here. Like I would have rather this happened in the second one, honestly,
Sure.
than
Okay, well
got the
that was a two-parter. How do we feel about the weird Eddie Brock like in New York, kind of like that weird song playing in the back? What is that? Boo woo. Is that lemon drops? Is that song that was playing when like it was like in memoriam to Venom? Like, is that
Sure.
that was weird to me?
you know what I think that is,
What is that?
and I know this is a stretch,
Okay.
but he's in New York. Don't forget that, right? I think that is a jab at the dark Peter Parker from Spider-Man 3. The weird catchy tune walking around in New
Maybe.
York and stuff. And
If he was walking around doing like finger guns.
yeah. So I think that's what that was because they took a jab at the MCU as well. So I think they were just taking jabs at the different Spider
Just
Verses.
because this might be the last one and who cares?
Yeah, I think I that's what I thought it was, but I could be way off on that. But again, I was affected on a core event level.
Deeply personal level.
Yeah, with the third Spider-Man movie. So maybe I'm just seeing that, but yeah, that's what I think that was.
All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you for doing this episode 1 with me.
Sure. It was fun.
I promise to get the lighting fixed in the near future. Well, the thing is, like,
terrible.
it's not, but like the sun goes down a lot sooner now, so like all the light that I thought I was gonna have for like another 45 minutes at this point, I don't have. So
Womp womp.
yeah, I'll go.
It's dark
I
and
will get.
mysterious here in the studio. I like it.
I will get that fixed.
It's
But
not dark. We have this ominous void behind us.
they do have an
I
almost.
actually think it looks pretty good though.
That's where Null lives. He's
Yeah, right there.
Well,
right
thank
there.
you
Yeah.
guys for joining me for episode 1 of
Yeah,
Post
first one in the
Credits
books.
Podcast. We're gonna try to have like a list of episodes coming up, and then somewhere in the near future, I don't know when that will be, but we do kind of want to give people a heads up,
Yeah.
so they can know what to watch. But we're really excited to go on this journey. We're gonna incorporate some things, maybe take things away at times, just kind of gauge what works and what doesn't. But I'm really excited about this going forward as well.
Yeah, we got new emails and stuff too.
Yeah, we
so,
do.
Yeah, we'll talk about those. Maybe not today, but soon.
Coming up.
We do
Soon.
indeed.
We're building.
But this has been episode 1, and gentlemen, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
Cool.
And we're out. I didn't want to say
Hold on.
much.